Yes, I can hear. Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened. My countdown didn't go. It's like, okay, I'm cursed today. So we'll start again. Pretend we're dancing, and we're live.
Silence is golden, right?
Yes, we really are live. So that's working. Oh my gosh. I love this about lives because basically anything can happen. Anything can go wrong and does go wrong on my live. So anyways, but what went right is Kevin's here and the banner's here. So we at least know what we're talking about and who we're talking with. So we're talking about today about what's in professional. And Kevin, before we get stuck in with our conversation, just in case somebody does not know you, could you please tell them who you are and what you do? And then we'll jump into our topic.
Absolutely. I'm Kevin Turner. I'm a managing partner with TNT Brand Strategist, and we help organizations and people be able to express who they are and help them get to market with what they need to be. So we're brand strategists in that sense, and that's what we love to do. So that's me.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, so our topic today is what's in professional. And we're talking about in as in LinkedIn. And the first thing that we probably need to, like the elephant in the room, is what does that even mean? What does that mean? I actually went and looked it up on Wikipedia because I still am the Google goddess, even though I took that out of my headline and nobody noticed. But anyways, so a professional is a member of a profession, that kind of seemed meta, or any person who earns a living from a specified professional activity. So that is the Wikipedia thing. So Kevin, what does professional mean to you?
Professional, first of all, means people, right? Business is run on people. And to be professional, you have to be a person, because that's part of this process. And I always, I like the term in professional as opposed to unprofessional. We all know what unprofessional is. We've seen it on LinkedIn. We're not going to talk about that today. So we're going to talk about what is it to be in professional? How do you present yourself to basically show the best you, the real you, so that people connect, respond, build trust with you, and kind of grow with you. And ultimately, that should lead to opportunities for everyone. And so to me, that's being a professional.
That was weird. I'm sorry. All of a sudden, the video went up. I'm not in my house today. So this is when you travel and go live, you get all sorts of weird goodies. So sorry, that flashed on the screen and went very weird and meta. So never mind. But just repeat that last line because it got a little blurry.
Oh, I don't even know if I can. I mean, it's basically being human, right? It's being a person, being respectful, building trust, getting people to understand who you are. What can you do in a way that they understand and they trust you and they're willing to kind of build opportunity with you. And so that's a big key of being professional. If you can bring that across in your branding and in your contributions on LinkedIn, all those kind of things build you as an in professional.
I love it. I love that. And as a matter of fact, actually, didn't LinkedIn kind of recently do a whole campaign? And it was like even a hashtag of I am a professional, and people were doing videos and posts, and they were talking about what does it mean to be a professional? Because, I think like you and I were sort of like the baby boom generation. And so we kind of said, oh, professional, we kind of got raised on the idea of a professional person wears a suit and they go to a job every day. And, they at 65, they retire. Like that's kind of the world we were in. But now professional, it is it's a paradigm shift of what it is. It's not just your white collared workers type of thing. And I loved all the different things people were talking about in their posts of being a professional, whether they were like a small business owner or, they worked at a job or it didn't matter what they were all bringing their slant to it. Artists, creatives, accountants, lawyers, it doesn't matter. Everybody was doing that, which to me was kind of like kicking off this topic about what does being professional mean to you? So do you know anything about that campaign, where it even came from?
I don't. I know, I believe it came through the creator community, but I don't know really where it went from there. They never really recapped anything in that sense. But I thought it was great because you did get to see different types of professions on LinkedIn. And that's the beauty of LinkedIn. It's a microcosm of the world. If you can find it in the world, it's going to be on LinkedIn, and there's probably a profession for it. And so it's all here. And, that's one of the nice things about LinkedIn is, if you have an area that you have an expertise in or preference for, it's here on LinkedIn. You can find it. If you have things you don't like on LinkedIn, you can avoid them. You can filter them out. You have the option of engaging or not engaging. And to me, engaging in a positive way is how you build opportunity. Engaging in a negative way is how you kind of destroy opportunity. So forget about that. Stop doing that if you're doing it, and focus on finding that community on LinkedIn, because it's all there, and building there. And
I agree.
I think the beauty of it.
So here's the favorite topic that we were talking about before we started today. When a post starts with, "This isn't Facebook, ... We had to laugh because we said we don't even know what Facebook is anymore. We haven't been on it for so long. It's like it could be fun now. Maybe we should go back. But it's like you just go, it isn't Facebook. Yeah, it's not Facebook. It's not Pinterest. It's not Twitter. It's not YouTube. It's not every social media platform. It's like its own playground. And it has different sets of rules, different sets of content, different audiences, and a different reason to be on here. And this is a business platform, whether we're talking about people that are job seekers, small business, B2B, B2C, or I don't know what you call job seekers. Is that like B2E? I don't know. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, B2E. I don't know. It sounds good. I just coined a new thing. But like you just realize that there is that business part of LinkedIn, but there's also a personal part. And I know I have actually made friends on the platform. You're one of my friends. We keep in contact all the time. We don't just show up for a LinkedIn Live and I'll see you again in another 6 months. We talk all the time. So, there's lots of things that this could be. So what's your thoughts when you see that this is not Facebook, ... insert rant?
Well, first of all, I don't like anything that starts with a rant, even though I kind of understand it. But, I don't like that introduction because to me, I kind of turn off and I usually don't read those. But this is not Facebook is partially true. It isn't Facebook. It's LinkedIn. It has its own thing going on. And to me, it's probably one of the most inclusive platforms there is out there. And it is kind of focused towards business, and it's focused towards networking and finding your community within that. Very few platforms are that way. And does it have some similarities? There might be feature similarities with other platforms. That's fine to me. I don't care where the inspiration for a feature comes from. If it works and it helps me build trust and brand, I'm all for it. Bring it on. I don't care where you got it, or what it might be like. Let's do it, right? And so when somebody says this is not Facebook, I can kind of agree and kind of not agree, because it isn't. But yet things still exist here that are on Facebook. People who are here are also on Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook in many years. I still have an account, but it's been kind of dormant. I just found LinkedIn a better place for me. Now, that's not to say Facebook isn't a great place. It just wasn't my place. So LinkedIn is where I fit and where I've kind of found a lot of opportunity. You and I met digitally, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
We've only met digitally, which is kind of what we do, but we're good friends. So, proves that it can happen. And I don't think that would have happened for me on Facebook.
No, I don't think so. And I think
I'm here.
And I think that the thing with Facebook is that it feels like you stay within your friends and family. And so it feels like you're kind of bringing it in. Whereas with LinkedIn, I like to expand out, and I've got to know people all over the world. And literally, Kevin, if I was driving through Texas, I would stop and I would say, hey, I'd say, hey, I'm here. Let's go have a cup of coffee.
You may never make it through the whole state because you'd be stopping so much.
I would be stopping so much. It would just absolutely be crazy. So let's talk about some of the things that like LinkedIn is doing that kind of like, I know there used to be this idea that LinkedIn was stodgy and stuffy and, not very much fun. And that's why people sometimes said, oh, I like Facebook because it's fun. LinkedIn, it's boring. And I'm wondering if maybe some of the things that LinkedIn has done is to encourage more human interaction. So one of the things is the most recent laughing emoji or laughing reaction. That's what it's called. What's it actually called, Kevin? Is it the blue baby or I don't know what it's called?
It's called funny, believe it or not. People
Funny.
already are debating whether it should be called something else. I don't really care. I will use it when appropriate, right? And it is, to me, it's a big evolution for LinkedIn. For many, many years, everybody's been asking for this on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn has pushed it back and said, no, the reasoning behind it is they saw on other platforms that people use the laughing emoji as a way of bullying people. I'm laughing at you, Gillian, not with you.
Oh.
And that was serious. Actually, Facebook had a big issue with this, laughing at you. And that's what it became. And they actually removed it for a while. LinkedIn knew this had happened. And their concern on LinkedIn is we don't want any bullying, right? We want this to be a very inclusive platform. Everybody can express opinions and have a conversation. And so all their emojis have always been positive, like, celebrate, support, love, right? Even the curious is positive because it says, I want to know more, right? So they're all very positive in their tone. And believe it or not, had the LinkedIn audio group, the product team, they were the ones who kind of broke the ice and said, we're going to test the laughing emoji. We're going to test it out during our beta test, and we're going to see how it does. And throughout that whole process, people enjoyed it. They used it appropriately. They didn't see any abuse of it. And that was what led the larger LinkedIn to say, okay, we're ready. We're going to do this. So the nice thing about LinkedIn is it does learn from its members. And if you get involved, right, you can make these things change. But always think about, why does the platform have an issue with it? And so going forward, we all need to behave with it. We need to use it appropriately, right?
Use it for goodness.
Absolutely. And if we do that and we keep that going, then that's going to stay. And who knows what else comes, with that process, And to me, humor is really, really important, especially if you're trying to teach people, if you're trying to relay concepts, if you're trying to get them to buy in. Humor itself activates the brain's reward system, dopamine, right? Because you laugh and it generates, that actually sets you up. It breaks down resistance, right? It kind of opens up acceptance because you're laughing, things are funny. I'm going to go accept this. I'll think about it. It strengthens long-term memory. Believe it or not, if you laughed about something in the process, but it was true, you were like, that's funny. And I can remember that because it was funny.
Yes.
And also they say if things are learned with this kind of dopamine charge, then long-term goal-based motivation is easier set. So humor is a really, really important, I hate to say sales tool, in that sense. And if you've ever had great sales experience with great salespeople, a lot of them are humorous, right? They're fun.
That's true.
They're just great people to interact with, and they make you smile. And that's that secret weapon that a lot of salespeople are naturally that way. And that's why not everybody's sales, right? Not everybody enjoys that. But that's what it is. And that's why I think it's important that it is now on LinkedIn and it's accepted. We always look at that in the sense of, if we do a humorous post. I know you did a great one just recently about waiting for a feature to come down, the 5 waves of rollout, and Gillian's always number 5, right?
Right.
At least it seems
always in the basement. I'm always in the basement.
But, I think a lot of people laughed with you on that because they're like, I've been there and it was funny. But it does also help people understand. And you brought a feature back up so that people could be prepared when it does arrive. And so one of the nice things about knowing about stuff like that is you can start thinking about how do I use that strategically when it is deposited into my account, right? And so all good value. And it probably helped a lot of people know that next tool was coming. And how do you use it? And so
and to keep checking because I think
absolutely
so
play
many
again.
people, so many people think LinkedIn is going to send you an email and say, Gillian, you have now got the new feature. It doesn't. You
No,
just
no.
have to keep, like you said, play again. Sorry.
Yep, just keep checking. It will show up. When you least expect it, it'll be there.
Exactly. That's how they always show up. Now, it's interesting that like when the laughing, what did you say it was called? Funny.
Yeah.
Funny. When Funny came to town, when Funny rolled to town, it rolled in in one big crash. Like, I don't know if there's anybody still kind of going, my life isn't funny yet. Funny's not in my town.
5 waves in 7 days.
Wow.
The reason, and again, LinkedIn does these kind of randomized and increasing in size waves of a rollout, because they know when they roll out a feature, it could technically bring the site down, and then nobody gets linked in for a couple of days until they fix it. So they test it, small groups. Okay, the first group's 100, the next group's 1,000, the next group is 100,000. And if it all goes well, then everybody ends up getting it. The simpler the feature, the faster the rollout. This was such a simple feature that they figured we can roll this out in 7 days as our plan. Now, had they rolled it out the first group and it broke everything, then we wouldn't have seen it in 7 days, right? So obviously it rolled out, everything worked. They've had experience because they've added a couple of new reactions over time. So they knew how it worked, and they already knew that it wasn't going to blow things up like it could. So that's why that happened so fast. So that was funny in itself.
That is. And I wonder if that's why we were all like, where did my picture go? Everybody, all of a sudden their pictures were vanishing. And all of a sudden it was like, and the funniest thing, speaking of funny, was Kevin, when you were a blank head, and I remember telling you, and I went, Kevin, you're a blank head. You're like Mr. Blanding. Mr. Blanding has been absconded and kidnapped. And I remember I sent you a DM and I said, how come you're a blank head? What happened? And you were traveling and you were like, oh my gosh. So you were like trying to stick up a picture on the road.
I my mobile, and it's still there. So good you travel with spares, right?
Always have a spare head in the car.
Yeah, but they never told me on that one what happened there. And, just recently there's been a bunch of rollouts. So, could be anything that could hit that piece and made that happen. So who knows what it is.
Cool. So do you remember, like, I don't remember, I wasn't active enough to remember, when did the GIFs make it into messaging? Because that is a feature that some people, they're not even aware you can do that. When you're sending a LinkedIn message, there's that little, you can click GIF and type in a GIF, and sometimes it's actually kind of like AI smart talk, like it's smart, it's listening and it's going, oh, you're talking to Kevin about good morning. Here's some good morning. And I haven't even typed anything. So, sometimes it seems to kind of be listening, so to speak, and
depending on your settings, yes. If you give it the option to use AI to help you in your responses, and if you start using the responses they provide you, whether they're text or graphic, right, it will give you more because it thinks you want more. I don't see too many of the graphics because I didn't really use them. So I didn't train my AI to do that. And I didn't really do it on the text either. So it all depends. That's the beauty of LinkedIn, right? We can all select what we want in that sense. But, that started happening a couple of years back. It has caught people by surprise. The same thing with the ability to post a GIF into the
comments.
Yeah, a comment, or even as part of your picture in your post, which again can bring in, some humor, different aspect, some culture, popular culture, a lot of different things that you can include in there. And LinkedIn has decided, yes, those are professional. And, that's the nice thing about it. They've given us that option. So
I love it. So should we take a couple of comments? So I see Jeff Young is in the front row on his usual seat, right up front with his popcorn. Looking forward to learning from two of my favorite professional peeps. Not a
Oh,
peep out of
nice.
you on LinkedIn. Gillian Whitney and Kevin D. Turner. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, yay. I am so happy I was able to catch you guys live this time. Hi, Jeff Young. I know you were watching too. These two like battle it out for first and second. You know, they're like, I can see them saying, save my seat. She's on YouTube. He's on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
it's always kind of fun. What a fantastic topic. I'm looking forward to this one. It is a good topic. I love it. I love it. We got Ilya here. Hello, Gillian Whitney and Kevin Turner. Woo-hoo-hoo, up from Canada. We've got Chris in today. Hi, Chris.
Right.
We've got Diana again. Hi, Kevin. Good to see you as always. Another Texas person. See, just between you and Diana and G, I would have to be stopping.
Yes,
Oh, here we go. Here we go. We got another Texan in the house. Howdy, Gillian Whitney and Kevin Turner. Ooh, all our hats off. Texas hats off to all you guys today. We've got Gail. Hi, Gillian Whitney. And hello, Kevin D. Turner. Great to be here. We've got Jeff again. TNT brand strategist. It's the bomb. That's just like, it's so good. It's like I want to insert little, you know, I'll get that for the next time. We'll get little dynamite, you know, overlays or something like that. Oh, wow. We got Mick coming in today. Glad to be here and to understand to be professional. And, you know, it's so great that I love when we get people from across the pond. It's because, you know, it's nighttime or it's getting to be nighttime or who knows what time zone it is, but it's nice to have you here, Mick. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And he's so professional. He's so professional. And speaking of professional, building trust, Nigel Cliff, he is LinkedIn credible, very professional man, always spreading good cheer, good knowledge. And one thing I love about Nigel, which is like part of his brand, is he's always talking about how to do it right. Like he's just got such a touch of class. I'm such a Nigel Cliff fan.
He had a great
Here's a question.
today.
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah,
he
had
says,
a great story today about delivering seasonal gifts in his car and having to break out the windshield because he couldn't get in his car, the window, and the cold day and all this stuff, and how it's changed now on LinkedIn 40 years later. But there was a lot of humor in that and a lot of joy in his storytelling. And I always appreciate it. I always read his stuff because of that.
I love his stuff. Yeah, I love his stuff. I love his stuff. So he's got a question for you. Can you be too professional? So again, well, it depends on what that term is. And I would suppose that maybe if you kind of like step out of what we just defined as professional and we just kind of go with people thinking professional means, you know, non-personal, impersonal, non-personal, not unprofessional, but just, you know, being very sort of like bland, like how you talk about blanding. I think there are some people who you don't know anything about them. Like they only talk about their profession. They come on and they talk about, well, I'm a coach who does sales training, and it's like every sentence is, and as a sales training coach, and while I was sales training coaching over here, and you're just kind of like, oh, you know, like yawn. And so that would be my thing, that it's like, if you don't let any part of your personality ever come out, and it's always, then you're breaking the creed of get to know, like, and trust you. Because if we don't know you and all we see is your business, but never you in your business, to me, it's like, why would I choose you? I don't know you.
And that's the thing is that level of professionalism is so very serious and so dry that 100 different people could use that same post and it would be true, right? That is personal branding. Right. That's where you're not standing out. You're not making yourself memorable. You know, I could read that 100 times and never tell you who wrote it, you know, and that happens. And so that's being maybe too professional in that sense of I'm so worried about what is my company going to think? What is my industry going to think? What's my boss going to think? What, you know, and so you just make it so dry that nobody really wants to interact with it, engage with it, embrace it. You know, that's a problem. That's too professional. You can be the other end of the spectrum, be too unprofessional, right? And so I always think that, you know, your approach, anything you do on LinkedIn does become part of your brand, right? All these little small things that we do, And so we want to make sure we're doing the right things. We're doing them where we add value, right? And that we have our own personality into them. And, there's always this debate too on LinkedIn. And I hear it all this time. You got experts that say, you got to tell them your personal story, that you had cancer 5 times and that, this, and then you were a drug addict or whatever it is. You don't have to tell that unless you want to. And unless it moves you forward to where you want to go, you don't have to, but you do have to put personality into it. You don't have to give away all the personal secrets, right? That's up to certain people, and certain people it's been very beneficial to. But again, just remember, everything we do is part of our brand, and you should always look at it and say, does it move me forward to my goals? And if it doesn't, or even if it moves you backwards, then maybe that's not the right place to be doing this. So there are other places you can do that. So to me, there's always that kind of balance between too serious and professional, maybe a little too on the other side, unprofessional in some ways, depending on who you are. But if you're not putting personality into it, if you're not enjoying what you're providing and adding value, then nobody else is going to see it either.
Exactly. And I've had a few people that have joined LinkedIn, and they are putting up these very generic quotes with a picture. That's the only kind of content they put out, and they use a scheduler. And I just say, no one will ever, it would be like just going to a networking event and you just keep holding up motivational posters. Nobody ever gets to know you. So it's kind of the same mentality, that if you come to LinkedIn and you're just banging out posts through a scheduler and you're never coming on and joining in the conversations, and then you go, LinkedIn doesn't work for me. Well, because you never really got in and realized that the biggest part of LinkedIn is the people. Like you said, it's the people. It's always, we just said what, B2B, B2C. It's really P2P, people to people. That's really what unites us all. So love it. A great question, Nigel. Great question. Status, cooking pasta for Lady Lois. So see, he's even getting personal. John Esperian is telling us what's for dinner, because we always ask him what's for dinner. But this is kind of a fun thing. And I like that you mentioned personal versus personality, because some people, you don't know, does she have kids? Are they boys? Are they girls? Is she, are they old kids, young kids? Does she have an orphanage? What does she have? And for some people, they make it very personal. They tell you about their families. They post that they have COVID. They're showing their, little tests and stuff like that. Other people get COVID. They don't want to talk about it, so it's like, it's a, pardon me?
That's me.
Oh, yeah. It's like, it's a personal thing. So some people, they like to get very personal. Other people don't. I don't really get too personal. I just kind of do it lightly, and I try to keep it on brand. And, I don't think you're ever going to find me, drinking a bottle of wine on a LinkedIn Live on a Friday night, sloshing and, talking about, let me tell you about how my first marriage ended. I'm not going to be that kind of person. That's not me. But
and I want people to know you don't have to do that, even though there are these kind of self-professed experts out there that say you've got to do this. You got to tell them all the nitty-gritty about your life and put it all out there. If it's not right for you, you don't have to do it. That works for some, not all. And
I like that.
You really got to figure out what it is, because it does become part of your brand, and it will follow you forward. Once it's on the internet, it never goes away. You don't know who gets access to it, who keeps it, what are they doing with AI and behind the scene with it, right? So be careful in that sense. Really use what you feel comfortable using, and you can get the same kind of response by providing personality than as you can by providing personal information.
Right. I love it.
And
and personality can mean so many different things. And, I think essentially, if we're all coming at it in a positive way, you're just trying to contribute, bring the light to LinkedIn. Don't bring the darkness. Cause I think speaking of personally, I just shy away from posts that are negative, because I have enough negative stuff in my life. I don't want to come to LinkedIn and
turn the news on for that.
Yeah, I really could. I really could. So now, don't want to do that. Great question, Nigel. I agree. I agree. Say howdy to Lois. Okay, Mick says people make the platform with their content what they want it to be. That's so true.
Absolutely.
And I think we
And their
kind of,
engagement, right? Because that
yes,
delivers more of the content they want to see.
exactly, exactly. And I think that is another part of it too, that when you are drawn into a post that maybe is personal or has personality, or maybe they're, irate and they're ranting, if you are on that and you join in and you start snipping at people and snapping at people, well, that follows you. It's not your post, but your comments are there, your activity is there. So, and I've had some people make weird, kind of strange, they're not nasty comments, but they're just like, wow, it's kind of mean spirited. And I just kind of move on. I just let it go.
To me, in an open conversation, there's a big difference between debate and berate, right? Debate can be positive, and you still might end up walking away saying, I know I'm right, you're right. That's fine. Debate is okay. Do it in a respectful way. Share what you know, absorb what they know, see if there's any common ground. That's okay. Berate is not, you're an idiot, those kind of things. Because what really happens is people who don't know either one of you, or maybe know the other person better than you and they like them, you become a bad person, because of that kind of the way you are behaving, right? Mm. And so I always tell people, don't do that. You can debate, don't berate, and it's probably the best thing on LinkedIn.
I love that. I love that. Well, we've reached our 30-minute marker
No way.
today. I know. It's just like Zoom. And although we're on StreamYard, so we're not on Zoom. But anyways, I'm using my funny. I'm using my funny emoji. So anyways, Kevin, what's your words of wisdom? What's sort of your parting gift to us today on this whole thing about what's in professional?
I'd say, be who you are, bring it to the table, add value, brand to land opportunities, right? Make sure they can remember who you are. And to me, that is in professional. That's going to get you where you need to go. And everything else, maybe take that to Facebook.
And then you can go on Facebook and say, this isn't LinkedIn. I love it. I love it.
Now, did you see the new feature this week? You can now repost directly to Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Quite interesting that LinkedIn is allowing traffic to go somewhere else.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's to pull them back.
It is. It's really to get people on Facebook to come over to LinkedIn. I mean, that's its purpose, but it still is fascinating.
Oh, that's interesting. So maybe that's a good place for those. This isn't Facebook. Repost those to Facebook. That's
do the author a favor, find their home.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, okay. Thank you for being here today, Kevin. It was great. Appreciated you being here. Thank you, everybody. Sorry about the technical errors today, but you travel and you do a LinkedIn Live. Life is interesting. So we'll talk soon, and we'll see you all again next week. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Take care.